It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, guys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And we're going to talk later about getting you to be a subscriber on the UNX network because it's growing fast, but we need your help. And I have got a guest tonight, and just talking with him before the show, I've already got the creeps. Dennis Hagen. And I know on Facebook I messed up and put Darren the first time, but I got it fixed. Dennis Hagen is the founder of Toledo Spirit Hunters. Awesome. He does a lot of work with the 13th Floor Haunted Media. He's got a couple of different shows going on the internet. But the main reason I wanted to talk to him is he collects haunted objects. That's cool, right? And not just anything. He's got dirt from Ed Gein's home. He's got, I just saw a weird high chair built out of a Ouija board that apparently is pretty strong. He's got all kinds of this really cool stuff we're going to talk about his work, his ghost hunting. So rather than listen to me, let's bring him on. Dennis Hagen. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay. What's up?
Oh, I want to hear some of these stories, but let's start at the beginning. And you have got a team you founded there in Toledo, Ohio, right?
Yes. I founded the team Toledo Spirit Hunters in 2017. And eventually down in this year, me and my wife was talking. Because we have so many names, like we started the 13th Floor Haunted Media Productions, and then we had the paranormal team. It was just too much. So we are actually going to, by 2024, we're merging TSH with the 13th floor. So we're just going to go with the 13th floor, and we're just going to start becoming documentary filmmakers and stuff like that. So
you'll continue to investigate, but you'll be doing videos for the show, right?
Yeah. Well,
all right. Well, what kind of stuff have you done with your team?
I've investigated many locations. I've actually released a paranormal documentary on the Purple Gang. I've released two paranormal series.
Mm-hmm.
One was called Spirits Awaken, and then down the road I started one called Awaken the Unknown, and I'm going to release the second, third series to that out after I get done editing the Purple Gang Part 2. So
okay, well, let's talk about your the shows that you're going to be adding to. What is the difference between the two, or is there one?
So basically the documentary on the Purple Gang is basically more in depth. We go to like 3 locations, talking about a little bit of history of the Purple Gang. We have like a medium like do readings on some of these locations, stuff like that. But with our series, we just go into the location and investigate the claims of paranormal activity to see, are we, to match it, just to show that people don't realize that because one person has paranormal activity, the other person may not get the same thing because the energy of that spirit or spirits can pick up on that, and they can basically, do different kind of activity versus what you would experience. So,
okay, let me jet back just a bit because I don't know about most people. I do because I'm an ex-cop, retired cop, dabble in true crime.
Yeah.
My only knowledge of the Purple Gang was the name of it was called out in the song Jailhouse Rock. I had to research it after I saw when I was researching you for the show. I had to research to find out what it is. So, can you tell people briefly what the Purple Gang was?
So the Purple Gang basically was a Detroit mob. They're basically a Detroit mob. So back in the 1920s, they outlawed alcohol. So the Purple Gang would bootleg alcohol from Canada into Detroit, and then they would meet Al Capone to supply his speakeasies with alcohol in different cities of Michigan where the Michigan police or government couldn't track them. So that's
And
the
if I remember right, this was a very vicious Jewish gang, which is very unusual.
Yep. Yeah. Even Al Capone was afraid to cross them.
How vicious were they? Because you're following their spirits, the spirits of their victims. How bad were they?
I can tell you, it's crazy because there's so many stories about the Purple Gang that's out there, and they were ruthless. I mean, I can tell you, in the first part of the Purple Gang, the documentary that's out right now on YouTube, we investigated the Leisure Hour, the Doherty Hotel, and Cops and Donuts. In the Leisure Hour, we probably got the most activity because that's where Louis Fletcher and Sam Bernstein were partners, and they created this junkyard or this body shop.
Okay.
Because they had to put on a front for the police to make the police think that they went straight. But in the process behind the curtains, they were stealing sedans from auto dealerships, and they would Louis Fletcher would rig them to where they can slide safes up into the car and get out after they robbed stores. So when we investigated that place, we caught some really good evidence and really good EVPs. And now the Doherty Hotel, we didn't catch nothing. Nobody, nothing, no one talked, no one, nothing. I've never had a spirit box so silent in my life.
What was the significance of the Daughtry Hotel?
The Doherty Hotel, actually. The Doherty Hotel. It was, the significance of it was that Jack Livingston shot his cousin Isaiah Leboff in the bar, in a booth. Jack Livingston was suffering from syphilis, and it was messing with his brain. So he thought the Purple Gang was out to get him and put a hit out on him. So he took out his cousin. But in part 2, we actually investigate Isaiah Leboff's ranch that he built. So I actually got affected in that house when we were investigating.
Can you explain what you mean by affected?
I basically, what you would call, something jumped me, and I started to get really anxious, and I was starting to get really mad. I was getting visions of 3 guys lined up in front of me, gunning them down with the Tommy gun.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Are you sensitive?
Yes, I am very sensitive. I actually had to leave. I actually had to leave the house and go outside to get it off. It was still affecting me outside.
Wow, that's incredible. So when will the part 2 be out, and how can people find part 1?
You can find part 1 on YouTube at 13th Floor Haunted Media. You can look it up on YouTube, or there you can find part 1. You can find the trailer to part 2 there, and you can actually see our bloopers of me and my wife doing our acting and interview type stuff where we slip up and But part 2 will be out next year. It's actually going to be in 2 theaters, one theater in Clare, one in Albion, Michigan.
Okay. And then
In
I assume
October.
you'll be on YouTube after that.
Yes.
All right.
After that. Yep.
So this, if I understand, this movie will discuss the history of the gang and the people involved, and then what you found on the investigation.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that sounds exciting. I look forward to seeing that. You've got the shows, you've got the videos of the Purple Gang, and you collect haunted objects. How did you start with that? I would be afraid to even start.
Well, when I first got into the haunted items, I was actually trying to figure out, like, is there, how can a spirit attach itself to an item? I just intrigued. So I actually bought my first haunted item off eBay. At the time, I didn't know how to handle them, what to do with them. I was just beginning, and I had a medium. Medium told me, there's something negative to this. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't know what to do, how to do it. My first instinct was get rid of it. So in the process, I created a shadow box, and I buried it somewhere, and I'm not going to dislocate,
That's
where location is. But later down the road, I took a break. And then I think within 2-3 months, I told my wife, I was like, I want to start again. But I started more with positive energy haunted items than I did negative. So eventually, I was collecting positive energy items. I was getting some really good activity. And then down the road, me and my wife was talking about opening a haunted museum here in Toledo. We're still talking about it, but it takes money. So we're hoping, either that or we're going to do a travel one. We're still going back and forth. We're trying to figure out what's cheaper for us and what would benefit us and everyone to, come and see them and experience them. So I have a friend who's in Florida. His team, he has many chapters in the United States. His team pulls some of these items out of homes. And he's actually going to partner with us once we open the museum. And he was helping us. Him and his team would get these items too, because people would do consignments with them and say, hey, I got this item. Can you sell it for me? Blah, blah, blah. So I think my very first dark demonic item was the 1900 high chair. Now, the 1900 high chair is a 1900 high chair. It has a Ouija board for a tray table. It actually possessed a 1 and 3-year-old and murdered them. This thing is so dark that when I got it, I was reading the prayer off my rosary, and I had the necrophonic app going. When I did, you can hear dark voices come across the necrophonic. That, 1, it growled at me. 2, it told me to stop. And then it said devil. Then down the road, I was investigating live on Facebook. Once I was investigating live on Facebook, I had a bookshelf, and in that bookshelf, it was manifesting a face. And you could see a full face manifest behind me. Now, I know some people don't believe in apps, but 2 apps I do believe in is GhostTube and Necrophonic. Now, the GhostTube was actually going, and when it did, and I didn't realize this, but it said behind you, and as it said behind you, it was literally morphing a face behind me. And I was reading the St. Michael's Prayer at that time. So that's one experience I've had with that high chair. Now, the other experience I've had was where I was investigating live on TikTok, and I was telling someone the story about the kids that were killed. And not even 2 minutes later, you hear a dark voice that comes across real slow behind the white noise that said, they're dead. Then the other one I had, which is really cool and is recent, I have a lantern. I don't know if you've seen the lantern that lights up like a REM pod. I don't know if you've seen those. I have one of those, and I put it on the tray table, and I was holding a holy water spray bottle, and I said to that demon, I said, if you can see me holding this holy water, the spray bottle, holy water, light that up, and it did. So that was one. The other one that everyone's fascinated about is Helen. Sorry.
Can we go back a little bit? How did this high chair get this way?
Some of the mediums that I have, or friends of mine that have had do readings on this, said that a mother was into black magic, and somehow something happened, and she tried to bring her. I think she had like an infant die, and she tried to bring her infant back, and somehow and. The other thing is if you can tell, the Ouija board was kind of destroyed.
Right.
So that's another thing. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's have Race bring up some of the photos, and we'll discuss each one as we come to them.
Okay. That's fine. Yep.
Race, do you have one handy? There we go. Okay. This is the chair.
Yep.
And was it made out of a Ouija board then, part of it?
The tray table was made out of a Ouija board.
Okay.
As you can tell, the top of the tray table right there is cut off. But that whole thing I believe it's the chair. I believe that the Ouija board is the haunted item that's causing the high chair to be haunted. But I don't know if you can see, but there's a cross that's in on the top of it. So
yeah, not really, but okay.
Yeah, it's like right there you can see like the little bump on the tray table on the left. Yeah. There's a cross on there that's blessed by an exorcist that's sitting on the tray table. So it kind of keeps that demon at bay.
Okay, so once again, you got this from someone who had gotten hold of it and figured out it was evil.
Yep.
And then you got it, and it actually gave you some serious issues, right?
It hasn't affected me like my other demonic item.
Okay.
But the only thing this one has done is growled at me, hissed at me, has acknowledged me, but that's about it.
All right. Wow, that's pretty incredible there. Ugh. Okay, Race, could you throw up another one of the photos? All right, this one here I've been waiting to hear about. This one, while generally I don't go for it just because it's famous, this one's incredible. What do you got?
So this is Ed Gein's farmland property dirt.
And that Ed Gein, for those who don't know, is the basis for, was it Psycho?
Yeah, he inspired Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hannibal, Psycho, many other movies. He basically, so the story with Ed Gein is that he murdered two females and dug up more bodies to create a female skin suit. He had some psychological issues, no doubt.
I guess so.
Now, the activity I've gotten from Ed Gein is I have a souffle knife, and I have pulled that knife out, and I have put a K2 meter, and I've had it light up. The souffle knife basically kind of represents his carving knife that he would carve his victims with.
Okay. So it wasn't his knife, but it was similar.
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah. I've gotten scratched on my left shoulder by him. I've had him actually come through real clear on my spirit box. A lot of evidence. Evidence.
You told me a while ago. Tell me about the scratch and was it an EVP or was it just over the spirit box
It was over the spirit box. So basically, me and my wife was investigating live on TikTok, and we felt like he was coming. So we didn't know who we were talking to at that moment because we were getting a reaction to our question. So I had to find out, and I said, Ed, if this is you coming through, I want you to, say my name. And it came real clear, and it came through, and it said, Ed. And it's really clear. It's clear as day.
Did you manage to record that, or is that just what you heard?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, hang on. I'll play it for you guys. Give me a minute.
Oh.
If that's you talking, can you say my name?
Wow.
Oh, shit, that was so fucking clear. That was super clear. Yeah, clear as day.
Oh. And you keep that in your basement?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's in a glass and on a shelf. Yep.
That's and then the scratch, you said your wife actually checked it.
Yes, I was actually on Facebook Live, and I started to talk about Ed Gein and his mother. I was starting to tell the story because someone was asking about it.
Mm-hmm. And
all of a sudden, I started to get this scratch on my shoulder. And when I got the scratch, it was really weird. When I got the scratch, it just burned. It felt like a burning sensation.
Uh-huh.
And
come on,
yeah.
Shoulder. I got a burning sensation on my left shoulder. Right here. Burning. This paranormal investigator claims he was attacked by a demonic spirit. But this wasn't just any entity. It's allegedly the spirit of an infamous serial killer.
Right here.
Oh my God, it burned! This dirt may not look scary until you hear where it came from. I'm Dennis, and I have the most haunted demonic dirt in the world. Dennis regularly talks about the demonic dirt in his prize paranormal.
Dennis, I wish you'd have told me earlier. We'd have called this most haunted demonic dirt. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Can you give us another picture, Race, when you can? So how's the scratch? Did it heal up on its own?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it got better. Oh,
okay. Quickly? Or was that something that lasted a while?
No, it got better. But
okay.
As soon as my wife touched it, it burned like heck, man.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes. The only demon in my collection that hates me.
Someone just said, wow, what'd you say? That series.
It's eerie. Yeah.
Eerie.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we go. Helen. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Tell us about Helen.
Helen's a very strong demon. She actually was given up by my paranormal investigator that I was talking about earlier from his personal collection. He was kind of hurting in money, and he was actually going to put her in the museum. So me and my wife was like, okay, we'll buy her off him, and we'll just put her in our collection. So the activity that I've gotten from this Tao is crazy.
Okay.
Crazy. I don't try to push the limits with this Tao because I know the power of this thing. Okay. I've had people watching on TikTok have seen her face morph. Let's see. Yeah, right here.
There we go, right there.
You see it? Watch her face. Watch her eyes. See your eyes?
Yeah.
They blink. See?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
wow.
never really witnessed it, and people were sending me videos and pictures, and it was like, look, I'll show you something else too. It's crazy with this Dow. So this Dow's face also shifts. Whoop. Look, see it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's in your basement again.
it's in my basement. Yeah.
How do you keep the spirits in the basement? I know you've got children, right?
Yes. So basically, how I keep them in the basement is I'm actually going to show some real quick. So one time I actually investigated and I staged them.
Uh-huh.
She's right there. Oh, dang, yeah.
And she was literally on her knees holding her stomach.
That means
The demon was, because the stage was literally choking her.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. She's on her fucking knees.
Yeah.
You having a hard time breathing? You having a hard time breathing?
Never thought demons breathed.
Well, the thing is it's on its knees, but the thing is that the next day I went down there and people were like, "Oh, how's how they go? How's Helen? Is the activity down?"
Uh-huh.
At that time, as we were speaking about Helen, I actually got affected, and I actually got nauseous. Like, I wasn't feeling right.
Uh-huh.
And at that time when I was not feeling right, I had to take some holy water and I literally had to put it on my forehead in a cross because I knew what was going on.
Right.
Helen was getting to me. There was one time where I was talking about against dirt on TikTok, and all of a sudden my wife actually, right out the blue, she goes, "Shut the door." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "I don't feel right." And yeah, and there are times where people want to ask me like to open up Helen's case when I'm live on TikTok, and I'm like, "No, I'm not doing it. I don't feel like doing it." I'm not protected. I'm not protected. I'm not in the mindset to do it.
Okay.
This Tao is very, very dangerous. And the reason why I house it is because I know what would happen if it got in the wrong hands.
Sure.
And that's why I keep it in my collection. Because A, to prove that Taos can be haunted. 2, to prove that there are demons in this world. And 3, to prove that people can be affected. And
do you know what demon is in it? Have you ever gotten a name?
Nope.
Okay.
No, never gotten a name. Sometimes demons don't want to tell their names because the reason why is you have control over it once you know the name.
Yeah. Yeah, I was aware of that. That's why I was curious if you'd ever even gotten a name from it.
No. Nope.
Okay. How long have you had it in your collection?
Damn, I think almost a year now.
Is that the same one?
Yep, that same one. Yep, it's just in a red light tight setting.
Okay.
I actually have a mirror that sits on top of it, and that mirror on top of it has to stay outside the case because
it would be an exit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can use it to reflect on her, and sometimes you can see the demon appear right in the mirror.
Wow. If you was to start your museum either in a building or by traveling, what would you do to keep people from opening that door?
It has an alarm on it.
Okay.
Plus, the door is so latched that you would need a key or a quarter or something to pop it.
Okay.
So yeah, that door is latched.
Boy, I think I'd want something better than that. I mean, just thinking about it, if it gets out, and there's people who would do that, boy, I don't know what could happen.
Oh yeah, it's funny because people nickname her like the Ohio Annabelle.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay. Was there any other photos, Race? I don't remember.
No,
that was it. Okay.
I think that was all the photos. Yeah.
All right. So you've got what else have you got in your collection? How many articles do you have in it?
I have over 100 haunted items. I have like 7 Bibles. 3 of them are used in exorcisms.
Okay.
I have a wheelchair. I have I actually have a key to the I can't talk. The Envyville whorehouse. I have a basement key to that.
There is a lot of question, as you know, whether that's real or not. What's your opinion on that?
It's hard to say, honestly. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. There's speculation that Ed and Lorraine Warren were like fakers and stuff.
I've heard that. I'm not sure what to think about them, but I
I
don't
don't know
think they were
either,
fake.
honestly. Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't
Yeah,
think they were fake. They were
I don't.
definitely showmen, but
Yeah. I mean, this is, I've come across with this question about them, and I'm just like, everyone in the paranormal field has their own belief.
right.
Okay. Everyone, you got your believers, you got your semi-believers, you got your skeptics, and you got your people who just don't believe and thinks everything is all natural causes.
Right.
The thing is in the paranormal, you have to open your mind. If you don't open your mind, you're not going to get an experience.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is if you're not sensitive, you're not a medium, you're not gonna experience as much as I would, because I'm sensitive.
No.
My wife, she don't experience half the stuff I do, or I experience, because she tries to open her mind, but she don't have the abilities I do. So, and it's
I'm
kind of
not
hard to
sensitive at
explain to
all,
her.
but I work with a lot of them. When I ghost hunt, I usually have one with me, and I can tell there's just a change in the room when something's affecting them.
Yeah, and I'll give an example. Like we went to the Ypsilanti Museum in Michigan, and we investigated their little museum, and we were walking around and getting a tour. And once we went upstairs to like this room that housed the band, like the instruments and the choir. Excuse me, and the choir or the band outfits, and the instruments. As soon as I walked in that room, I knew there was something there. I knew it. Throughout that whole place, I told my wife, I was like, that's the room we need to go to. That's the room we need to focus on. And Lord and behold, we caught a lot of activity in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Like so much. I thought it was 12:30 when it was 11:30. My wife actually got her hair messed with.
Can you describe the feelings you had that made you want to go into that room?
Yeah, it's like when you go into a room, it's like you feel the energy in there. You feel it. You feel it. You're walking in, and it's like it hits you, and you're just like, whoa, like this is it right here. This is the room, or this is the space. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe, honestly. It's just you get like instant, the energy just hits you hard, and it's weird.
I was in a room later, but it was in the Missouri State Penitentiary. It was in A Hall, and this is an area where the prisoners had done well for so long they'd let them paint their own cells.
Oh, okay.
This cell was painted black with red drawings of like gravestones on it.
Uh-huh.
When I tried to walk into that room, it was like walking into an invisible wall. I could push, I could feel energy. It was almost like electricity coming through me, but I could not get into that room. Later on, I went back. It was fine. That's when I walked in, looked around, and thought how weird this place was. Do you feel something like that? I mean, it was other people could walk in and out. It's the only time it happened to me. I could not push myself through that door.
It's weird because like when I walk into a room, it's like I just feel like a charge of energy, and it's like this is it. This is the room that's going to have the activity right here. This is it. sometimes when I'm investigating my collection on TikTok, I can feel the energy start to rise in the room.
Okay.
And and it's crazy. It's just crazy. I'll get goosebumps. Sometimes I can feel the cold air.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I'll call it out and it'll come across the spirit box or I can give you an example. So one time I was investigating my collection on TikTok and I had this female come across 4 times and I went to go sit down and it told me to get up. And I said, it told me to leave. It told me to literally leave. And I asked it, I said, why'd you tell me to leave? And it said, I tried. So I think there was something in that room that was there that positive energy was trying to protect me from being in there at that moment, because it probably knew something in there was negative that did not like me or was going to try and get a grip on me. I've got a couple mediums, like I said earlier, friends, and they've all told me that the positive energy is always in there trying to protect me from the negative. Plus the positive energy in there, they do not like Helen. They've mediums that Helen is like, they fear Helen because of the demon that's attached to that doll. They fear Helen. So, but I don't fear her. I've stood up to her many times. I don't like it, but eventually it just, you have to come to learn and the thing is with demonic dolls or items, if you do not push them or provoke them or poke them, they will lay dormant. Once you start to get them attention, they'll start to wake and start to become active.
Okay.
Yeah. I've gone times where I've investigated my collection and none of the demonic dolls have even, or the items have even come alive and tried to, push through and try to get active. The only time is when I start poking them or prying them or provoke them.
You've talked about the positive spirits. Are you going to call that angelic, or are they human spirits who want to help?
They're actually human spirits.
Okay.
I have some human child spirits in there, and I have some human adult spirits in there that are attached to those objects. But they will come through. One time when I opened up Helen's door, they were all coming through the necrophonic telling me to shut it.
Why did you open the door, out of curiosity?
I opened the door because I had one of my friends who was a medium live on TikTok with me. And I wanted to see like what would happen if I opened that door. I've opened that door many times and I've had Helen jump right at me. Full blast, but sometimes, I don't really open the door to Helen. I keep it closed. But there are times once in a while, I will pull all my negative items and line them up, and I will investigate them live on TikTok just to see what kind of evidence I get.
I think you're the first guest I've had who's done this on TikTok specifically. Yeah. How do people get on that? How do they find you on there?
You can find us on TikTok on the 13th Floor Haunted Media, and you can see practically all the evidence that we've captured over time on there.
Okay. I find it strange, not that you've got collections. I've got some friends who have haunted objects, a few.
Yeah.
But that you've managed to keep them in the basement this long, especially with something this strong. How have you managed to do that? That just seems so odd to me.
Well, one, I have holy items that are sitting, or they're around their necks, rosaries, blessed crosses, stuff like that around the items,
Okay.
and that kind of binds them to the object, so it dampers their power a little less. Two, I have blessed items that are on both sides of the door that they're sitting in, right here to my left.
Okay.
And three, when I received those items, I have told those demons and the positive energy too. I said, you're not allowed upstairs. You're not allowed to mess with me, my wife, my kids, or disrupt our lives. And they all have remained down here.
Okay.
Now, like I was telling you earlier before we came on, I did have a friend who was a medium that I was on a Zoom meeting with. And at the time, I do have a haunted item behind me right now, and it's a rocking horse, and it was attached to a disabled child, maybe 5 or 6, I can't remember. Would play in it, rock in it, ride it. He's attached to it. And as I was talking to her, she came forward and she said, "There's a little boy behind you." And she said that the little boy just told me that he's not allowed upstairs to play with your kids. He wants to play with your kids, but he's not allowed up there.
Okay.
And the reason that is because I gave them a command to stay downstairs. Now, the funny part is I've never told her that. She told me that, and I turned around and told her what I did, and she was like, wow.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's why we don't hardly get any activity upstairs in my house, is because I keep them maintained. I keep them bound. I keep them safe to where they need to be.
Well, I would definitely be concerned that a demon would pretend to be a child to try to get upstairs, to try to get out of where you got it trapped.
Well, thing is everyone that's on TikTok that has watched our investigations, some of the mediums that have watched our live investigations have come out and said, "Oh, I see like a little girl like standing there," and I'm always telling them to please be aware, because it could be one of the negative entities trying to pose as a young child to lure you in to do something.
Yes.
So you have to understand the demons that are attached to our objects, they know I'm too smart. They know that I can catch on to their tactics, their games, their illusions, their whatever. And they know they can't intimidate me because I show no fear to them. I show fear to them, my fear to them, but I don't show fear to them to make them get inside my head and try to outpower me. So that's the reason why Helen doesn't like me, is because I don't show fear, and she doesn't like it because she can't get in my head and try to manipulate me or do whatever she needs to do. So yeah.
Is that the strongest of the items you have in your collection?
I would have to say that Helen, the high chair, when it wants to be, again, when he wants to be. I have a female teenage female that's attached to a doll named Corinne. She can be active real well. Trying to think of what else. Some of the objects in there are hit or miss. Some of them are low activity. So, like in the near future here, we're probably pretty soon we're going to start selling off some of the low active ones and start bringing in more active ones. So that when we do get to that point where we can open up a museum or a travel museum, then we have those real active items that people will find interesting or whatever. But yeah, everyone that I talk to is like, how do you keep items in your basement? I'm just like,
yeah,
I learned how to control them from people. I learned how to keep them contained from mediums and other paranormal investigators are friends of mine. I've owned this collection for 4 years, and I've, you know, when I go down there, sometimes I can feel the energy. Sometimes, you know, it's just based on the day, the time, and, you know, what's going on. Some days, some nights I'll get really good activity. Some nights, nothing. You know, people got to understand paranormal activity is like fishing. You're going to get hits or misses. That's it. End of story.
I've never heard it said that way before, but that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's like fishing. You're going to get hits or misses. So,
what place would you say was the most active you've been to so far?
I would have to say the Wayne County Historical Museum and the Ypsilanti Museum, and I would have to say Waverly Hills. I've been there twice.
Okay, I was there once, but I had a bad night. Well, they'd run a lot of ghost tours before we got there, so I think all the energy had been drained.
Yeah.
So
I had a disembodied voice, and 502 asked me for help.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
502. Remind me of that. Is that the room?
That's
one of the nurses
where the hung herself.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We tried. We couldn't find anything there that night.
Yeah, it's where the children's ward is that had tuberculosis, and then the patients that had tuberculosis of the brain, they were housed up there.
Okay. Tuberculosis of the brain. I had not heard that one either.
Yeah. That's where shock therapy came in, because I thought that would cure it or shock it out or something. I don't know.
So, did you come across any spirits that are still demented when you was there? Crazy?
You know, honestly, no. I think I will be honest. First time I went there, I heard that disembodied voice, and I literally packed up my gear and ran out that room, down the hall, through the children's ward to the roof, and I had to gather myself. Like, I'm not joking. I was like, what the heck just happened? Like, and I had 2 females with me. And I was like, did you guys not hear that? You know, was I the only one? And no joke, I caught it with my own ears on my video recorder and my voice recorder. So I was like, dang, it's actually on our TikTok. I think it's on our TikTok, that video.
Okay. And again, the TikTok is under 13th floor
haunted media. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. I don't know if you know, there's folks out here thanking you for sharing your stories and your experiences. They're pretty excited about what's going on here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys like it.
The Waverly Hills Sanitarium they heard about. So they're thinking it might be mostly residual, but I don't think so. I think there's a lot of real spirits there.
I think, honestly, it's a little of both. I think there is residual and there's intelligent.
Okay. Well, Dennis, I think we could talk all night. Time's coming up quick. So for the last couple of minutes here, can you tell us again how people can find out more about you? Do you do any tours or anything like that people could jump on?
I'm actually, okay, so for those who want to come and actually meet Helen in person, because we're taking her with us to paranormal conventions that we're going to be at.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to be at is in Pennhurst in 2 weeks.
Okay. Pennhurst is in Ohio?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be a really good guest lineup. They're going to have Jack Osborne, the Ghost Hunters, Paranormal Destination. Really great lineup. We're going to be there as a vendor. We're going to have Helen with us and many more of our haunted items with us that we're going to bring for, people to, come see, witness, experience them if they're getting experience, it's a hit or miss, like I said. We're going to be there. And then in June, we're going to be in Michigan. We're actually going to be guest speakers at the Paracon in June. And we're going to be talking about our series, our paranormal documentary, our haunted collection. We're going to be there sharing all that. And we're going to be guest speakers. And stuff like that, which I'm really excited about. And then we're actually going to be taking a break in July and August, and we are going to go back to Pennsylvania in September around the 9th. And we're going to be going to Hell House, Paracon. And there we're going to be vendors, and we're going to be, again, carrying, having our collection with us and stuff. And then we're going to go to Fort Wayne at the end of September, beginning of October, and be there again, vending. And then our last stop is going to be in November at the Mid-Michigan Paracon, and we're going to be up there. And
one more time, can you tell us where you'll be speaking?
We're going to be speaking in Michigan at the Chaos Con. We're going to be speaking there.
Okay.
For those who want to come and see us, we're going to be speaking there. And then in 2024, we're going to go back to filming. We're going to be filming a paranormal documentary in Gettysburg on that history.
Wow.
And hopefully investigate 4 or 5 locations in 4 days.
Okay.
And in that process, we're going to be releasing our Purple Gang documentary part 2 in October 2024 in 2 theaters in October. And I'm excited about that. And that's pretty much the layout for 23-24 for us.
All right. Well, Dennis, let me know when you are speaking. Just drop me an email so I can mention it.
Okay.
All right. All right, folks. Dennis Hagen is the founder of Toledo Spirit Hunters and, as you can tell, an avid collector of haunted and some demonic objects. Dennis, thanks for coming on. This has been one of the most exciting shows I've done yet.
Cool.
All right. Thanks very much, man. You take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, you too, man. You too.
See ya. All right, folks. Real briefly, I just want to make sure you all remember that I've got the this weekend coming up, the 2023 West Virginia Paranormal Tourism Convention. It's going to be in Oak Hill, West Virginia. And we have got now for speakers, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is going to be talking about the paranormal at the asylum. If that ain't cool, yeah, you need to go there. Dave Shelton will be talking about the entertainment of the paranormal. That's going to be interesting. Annie Weeble, who's been a guest on this show, will be talking about more about the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. Lots of stuff going on there. And the neat part is it's $10. It's only a $10 to come in entry fee. So Tanya Webb's going to be talking about the old hospital on College Hill. And they've got all kinds of vendors, including authentic soul and Jamaican food from Dee's Eats and a few others. Hilltop Coffee. Like I said, this place is going to be interesting. Last year's was great. You need to try and make it if you can. And of course, the 2023. Oh, and I'll be speaking there, of course, too, but whatever. 2023 XCon in Blue Springs, Missouri. That's going to be October 13th. I'll be speaking there. Friday's paranormal. Saturday's going to be all about UFOs and aliens. And of course, Sunday's about the cryptids. There's going to be all kinds of neat stuff there too. So you need to try and get to these. This is the fun part. This is the excitement. If you're not a subscriber to the UNX magazine, just real briefly, you really need to jump onto this, to the UNX network. If you subscribe, and you do that by going to unxnetwork.com, you go down a little bit to free subscription, fill in your information, and what are you going to get out of this? Monthly UNX newsletter, access to the X blog, and that X blog is very busy lately. UFOs being seen, haunted objects, cryptids being seen around. Always talking about that. And biggest of all, you get a free digital copy of the quarterly UNX magazine sent to you by email. You can look at it at your leisure. There's a couple there. I had a great story in the first one about the haunted battleship, North Carolina. Guys, this is really incredible. It's free. You get all of this for free just by putting your name in. So come on in, join the UNX network. you're gonna really enjoy it. And for the rest of us, just stay spooked, okay? Good night.